What's the difference between the Taylormade TP5 and the Taylormade TP5X? I really liked the Taylormade Lethal and the Taylormade Penta. I was a big fan of those golf balls, but the only thing is I got really used to them and then they stopped making them and then they brought out something different, which I then had to retune into. So I'm gonna have a go with the Taylormade TP5, TP5X. I wanna know what the difference is between the two. It does say on the box, but I don't trust what the box says. And we also had that debacle with the Titleist golf balls where they switched around the Pro V1 and the Pro V1X to make the Pro V1 go a little bit further, because that's what everyone really cares about. I'm gonna hit some wedges from 50 yards. I'm going to hit some irons from 180 yards, and then I'm going to bang the driver and see how far they go. So TP5, 50 yards. Tiny bit thin, but not bad. Drop and stop. Ooh, 8,000 spin. Get in the hole. Oh, I missed. Cool, that grabbed in. 8,200 spin. That's quite a lot of spin. Ooh, a little bit too far, a bit heavy-handed, still near 8,000. So the one thing I didn't do is the bounce test. TP5 feels quite solid, not too high-pitched, but getting there. And if I go TP5X, I can't notice much difference. Maybe a tiny bit clickier. All right, TP5X, 50 yards. Okay, different spin rate. Be interesting to see what the average is. Because I've always thought of like the Srixon Z Star and the Srixon Z Star XV to be like the Pro V1, Pro V1X. And I've always thought of the TP5 and the TP5X to be like the Pro V1, Pro V1X. With the Srixon Z Star, I found the XV to have more spin with a wedge. So what I'm really trying to find here is whether the TP5X has the same separation or not. Because on the box, it does say the TP5 spins more. That was a drop kick, but I'll take it. Oh, I've nailed that. Not in a good way. Oh, that was a good strike for comparison. Okay, back of the green, granted. So for me, speed fairly similar, launch angle tiny bit lower, 1 degree lower with the TP5. So it's lower and it's higher spinning. So I've got loads more spin with the TP5. Carry quite similar. Maybe I was a bit heavy-handed with the TP5X, but we're looking at that spin rate, that extra spin with the TP5 is rather interesting. Again, I found in the Srixon Z Star XV that the XV was the higher spinning one between the two. So I thought the TP5X was going to spin more, but it didn't, noticeably so. So the TP5X, I didn't get anything spinning over 8,000, and the TP5, I had a couple flick over 8,000, so it's more capable of more spin, more grab. Durability-wise as well, we're not looking too bad. The TP5X had a tiny mark on it, tiny mark, nothing serious. And then the TP5, I can't even see a mark on it, so I'm pretty happy with the durability of those. When I did my PXG golf ball video, the cover on that chewed up really quite a lot. So I prefer the durability on these so far. TP5, 7-iron. Now the TP5 was actually the golf ball that made me make the decision to use the same golf ball for the whole year. It was the first ball. I think I was using a night golf ball at the time, but I went to play in a tournament and I had a trial pack or something where I used them on the golf course and the ball was just going miles compared to that night ball that I had before. So in a PGA event, I was flying the green. I was hitting the ball over the back of the green. Like, I think there was 6 holes where it was really damaging. So it cost me a lot of shots on that day because I just got a golf ball out the bag that I wasn't used to. And I think I was using those night golf balls because I quite liked how they spun with the wedge and how they gripped into the green. But they'd spun a little bit too much with the driver. So when I went to the TP5 on that day, my driver was just going absolutely miles. It was quite hot as well, so that will factor in. But I changed the golf ball and my distances were all over the place. I didn't know how to judge or predict my way around the golf course on that day because I changed the golf ball. So I do choose one golf ball for the year. So just leaking out to the right on that one compared to the first two. On the green though, I think my carries are slightly out on what I've written on the club. I do need to recheck those. Drop a little comment if you want me to go through my yardages and talk through the strategy that I have on the golf course. If you'll find that valuable, let me know in the comments. Awful swing, but I'll get away with it on the fringe of the green. Yeah, just on the fringe, I'll take that on the course. And we have the TP5X with an iron. So that seemed to launch a little bit higher, so we'll see how the averages work out. But the TP5 box does say higher against high. But are they just saying things to get you to buy a box of balls? Airmailed the green. Now this is a good point to make in terms of like consistency. So I'm hitting that 187 on the last couple of shots. I've got 177 written on my club as my stock yardage for this club. Could it be because of the golf ball that I've been using, or could it be because I've got faster? This is why I use the same golf ball all year long. So if I get a spike or a drop in yardage from a certain club, I want to work out why as quickly as possible. And the golf ball is one of my go-to things for why something's changed distance-wise. Tiny bit thin. I'm getting the odd little thin strike in there, but the thin ones don't cost too much. I'm still landing in the same area. It's 185. The shot before that was pure was 187. Now I don't mind that drop in yardage. Not bad, fairly straight. Quite enjoying that grouping. The yardage isn't varying too much as well. On the green. So data-wise, I'm slightly faster with the TP5X. Could be because the core's harder and it's got more spring off the face for me. With a slower swing speed, you might get more out of the TP5 because it's got more squash in it, because it is that little bit softer. Launch angle exactly the same. Spin rate slightly different. So with a wedge and an iron, I've got more spin with the TP5. Slightly less carry, slightly more carry. And I think that extra carry will be because the ball speed's up and the spin's slightly lower. So with faster, lower flights at this area, at this sort of launch angle, this is picking up a couple of yards. So I'd be inclined to choose this one because of the carry element. However, it could be this one that I go for the spin element. So again, everyone's going to make different decisions based on what you do and what you need. And finally, let's have a look at the driver. I've got the Srixon ZX5 LS with the weight at the front. I've got the Ventus 7X black Velocore, and we're going TP5. Tiny bit toey, little bit of overdraw, not too bad. We've got 160 ball speed, 2,200 spin, rocking up to 305. TP5X. Not bad as well, fairly straight. 2,300 spin, 163 ball speed, 291 carry, rocking up a bit further. TP5. Nice and straight, similar flight to the one before. 290 carry, 161 ball speed, 2,175 spin, rocking up to 309. TP5X. And I'm alternating between the two golf balls just to make sure I'm not getting warmer and colder between the two, especially on the driver. All decent carry, 2,200 spin, 310. TP5. Not a bad swing. 295 carry, 164 ball speed. Just under 1,900 spin. Ooh, 318. TP5X. Slightly funny strike, a little bit of overdraw, I am prone to that. 290 carry, 162 ball speed, 2,200 spin again. 309. TP5. Arrow straight, 292 carry, 2,200 spin, 164 ball speed, rocking up to 314. Not bad. Final shot, TP5X. Little bit of a Healy fade. 163 ball speed, 289 carry, 2,300 spin. Not bad at all. 309, sort of fairly similar. TP5, TP5X. Ball speed, very similar. We've got slightly faster on the TP5X, slightly higher on the TP5X in terms of launch angle, slightly higher spin on the TP5X. Same carry, very similar end result. So I think the slightly lower spin on the TP5 is just let it run out of 2 more yards. The variance in carry with the TP5X was 0, lovely. Even though I was alternating shots, they've still not varied that much. So for me, there are minimal differences between the two, and I normally lean towards the Z Star XV or the Pro V1X when I'm looking at the 2 premium balls from each brand. But in the Taylormade there, I think the TP5 would be my choice if I was going down the Taylormade route, because I've got more spin with a wedge, slightly more spin with an iron, and better spin rate with a driver, which allows it to be just that little bit more stable in the wind. So I've got 40 yards of peak height there with the TP5. Again, that's going to be quite stable in the wind in comparison to 43 yards of peak height in the TP5X. So the TP5X does launch that little bit higher, and it does reach that slightly higher point when it flies. size. So for me, I'd be just thinking the edge of how it affects that in the wind. I'm going to be slightly more stable with the TP5. With the TP5X, maybe if it's dry and it's not very windy and the greens are hard, I might go for that slight bit more height to land more vertically and land softer. But generally speaking in the UK, I'm going to be using the TP5 if I were to choose them. I guess I might have to compare the TP5 to the Srixon Z Star and the Titleist Pro V1 so I can see which one of those brands suits me best, just to see what I might put in the bag.